Hello, I'm Ollie Collins from VCC Homes. So today I thought I'd do a quick little guide on how I take pictures for our adverts. I am not a professional cameraman by any stretch. I just kind of like doing it a little bit as a hobby, so I know a little bit about it, but if you've got any technical questions, I probably won't be able to answer it, but I feel like I do get some pretty good quality shots, and I'm gonna just explain and go through everything I know. So first of all, you're going to want a digital SLR camera, and I'll probably put in a picture of the one that I've got. So the one that I have is a Nikon D3300 or D3300. It's an entry range DSLR, but it's pretty good. It does the job well. Another one that you could get is a Canon EOS 1300D. Now, I picked the Nikon because it had a higher pixel resolution. I can't remember the other reason, but for me, the Nikon seemed better. Now, I can't remember the exact price that I paid for the Nikon, but it was around £300 just for the body. It was around £320 for the wide angle lens that you need. Now, this is more important than the actual camera itself, so you do need to spend a bit of money on this wide angle lens. So lens wise, you're going to need a 10 to 20 millimeter wide angle lens. I've got the Sigma 10 to 20 millimeter f3.5. Now what this does, it does make the pictures look bigger when you take them, so it incorporates all of the room. So now you've picked up a DSLR camera body and you've picked up a wide angle lens, you've now got a good bit of kit to start taking professional property pictures. Talking about settings now, there's a lot of different settings that you'll need, but luckily for us, you're only going to use about 10% of them for taking professional property pictures. So don't worry if you feel like you don't know how to use everything. We're not going to be using all of it. Okay, so the first lesson is understanding light and exposure. So there's three ways of controlling light exposure. There's aperture, that's the lens opening that lets light into the camera. There's shutter speed, which is the amount of time that the shutter stays open for when the picture is taken. And ISO, which is the film speed. Getting the perfect exposure is not always possible, so if it's quite dark at night or later on in the day, or like in this property here, the sun is over on that side, so this side of the property is darker. It's better to have an underexposed image rather than overexposed, having too much light, because you can always tweak the settings on the photo afterwards. Okay, so next up is your shutter speed. I think on Canons it is a little dial called TV or time value. On Nikon's it's shutter priority, which is symbolised by a little S. So you want the shutter speed to be about 1/5. This means the time that the shutter stays open for is 1/5 of a second. But to do this, you're going to need a steady hand. So if you don't have a tripod, you do really need to remain still to prevent the image from blurring. Okay, so with the rooms being too light or too dark, you're going to need to change your exposure value. So on Nikon's that's EV, and on Canon's it's aperture value, which is symbolised by an AV. So I usually take shots at around 2 exposure value. I find that lets in a lot of light and it's quite good. I don't go down to 1 because sometimes they can come out a bit dark, but what you do have to realise is that on your Macs and Apple products, you've got higher resolution screens as compared to Windows. So when you're looking, like for example, my pictures look a bit overexposed when you're looking on it on a Windows-based device. Okay, so file type and resolution. Basically, the default value will have you taking pictures at quite high file sizes, so we want to tweak that a little bit down. You want to have your option saving the pictures as a JPEG, RAW, or both. JPEGs are just quick and easy to transfer. They're really good for what we need it, so it's a good file to have. And the file sizes are a bit smaller. Okay, so this camera I think is somewhere maybe around 24 megapixels, but for the file sizes, I've brought them down to 12 megapixels because, again, like I was saying, we don't want the sizes to be too high. So preparing for taking the photographs, you want to go around the property or the room that you're doing, and you want to obviously make sure that it's nice and staged. You don't want to have doors open, toilet seats open, TVs need to be turned off so they're just a black screen and not Jeremy Kyle's face. Your curtains and blinds need to be open so it lets enough natural light in. No matter what time of day it is, you want to make sure you've got all the lights on and all the little lamps and stuff to get as much light as possible. And obviously have a good tidy, don't let stuff be messy and dirty as much as possible. Also, don't use flash because that can cause shadow and it degrades the natural look of the picture as well. Okay, so composition and shooting angles. When you're taking pictures inside, you want to be shooting in landscape, not portrait. Property images look more appealing when they're done in landscape, and also they sit better on right move. Okay, so always shoot from waist height as well. So not only do they have better composition when shots are taken from that height, but this viewpoint also minimises leaning walls. It's the unwanted visual trickery, I guess, of walls appearing to splay outwards and tower inwards. If you're going to do outside shots as well, you want to take them from a slight angle, so not facing directly ahead of the property. So when you're inside rooms, you want to sort of take pictures from a corner if possible, and it's always best to try and get 3 walls in the shot as well. For smaller bedrooms or rooms, you can take them from the door. That's always a great way to get 2 or 3 walls in as well. And obviously you want to zoom the lens out as much as possible so you can get as much as the room in as you can. Okay, another little tip as well, which I think is obvious, but not a lot of people do this. So for example, Alicia is not as great as holding down the focus button. So before you're taking a picture, you slightly press it down, which allows the camera to focus and get the best shot possible. You can almost hear the camera doing its thing when you're doing that. It kind of makes a mechanical sound. And then after about 1 second, 2 seconds, it will have the perfect shot. But never point your camera towards a window when you're doing that autofocus, because then what it'll do, it'll let in so much light that it'll make the rest of the room look darker. Putting the camera away actually at the floor is the best thing to do. So hopefully that's given you a few tips and tricks on how to take pictures. I literally have just taken a few pictures as well, so I'll pop a few of them up now so you can see exactly what I'm talking about and how the pictures come out and how they look. So as ever, thank you for watching. I hope you got a bit of value from this. Leave us a like, comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to find out more tips and tricks on how we do things at VCC Homes. Thank you.